When Ororo arrives home, as always, she tells Ainet everything. And Ainet confesses. The witch priestess tells her daughter that, for many days now, she has had visions of the coming of Xavier and Ororo's subsequent departure to America. And months ago, when Ororo told her of the mutants she had met when battling Deluge, she knew this day was soon to come. And moreover, through her own abilities as an empath, Ainet has felt Ororo's longing, and she will not hinder her. Ainet gives Ororo her blessing to leave with Xavier, and they gather the only possessions kept of Ororo's human life. The clothes she wore the day she arrived in Hillswoody Village, the eternal heart of darkness, and Ororo's ancestral ruby gem. But just before Ororo departs to meet Xavier, she admits to her mother that something does trouble her. Although Ainet had molded her into the likeness of a goddess, they both know that Ororo is still only mortal, made of flesh and blood. Unlike other gods such as Thor, she was not born a deity. Never forget that you hail from an ancient royal bloodline, Ororo, Ainet consoles. A bloodline which the elder goddess herself has gifted with powerful sorceress women, wind riders, that were also born human, yet could also, like yourself, ascend to true godhood. Remember the day on the Serengeti, my child? Ainet inquires. Like any god, your true power was accessed through worship, and on that day on the plains, you tapped into your inherited godhood. And godhood is not a fleeting thing. Once attained, godhood is both eternal and infinite. The fates have already revealed it to me, Ororo, Ainet prophesies. The day will come when you will ascend the limitations of flesh and blood and take your place as one of the new gods of Africa. And on that day, it will be because an entire nation, not just Uzuri, worships and believes in you. But what Ainet does not tell Ororo is that until the day she ascends, so long as she is away from her worshippers and the very lands of Africa, Ororo will not be nearly as powerful as when she is amongst them. Her powers will be bonded to her will, imagination, emotions, and the strength of her mortal, mutant body. The witch priestess does not tell her adopted daughter that the fates have also shown her that, in America, Ororo will only be considered a mutant, not the goddess she truly was, although she was certainly both. Within minutes, Ororo has flown to meet Xavier at the Arusha airport, situated in the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. She boards his private jet, but she is very uneasy. Wearing clothes, coupled with being inside such a small, enclosed space, was making her feel claustrophobic. As she takes a seat, Xavier speaks. Thank you for accepting my offer, Ororo Munroe. By joining me in America, you will be using your powers for the good of the world. In New York, I can give you an identity and purpose far bigger than the small world you have made for yourself here, Xavier explains. He may be the man from Ozymandias' prophecy, but to Ororo, Xavier was audacious. The gods may have brought their paths together again, but who was he to assume she had no identity or knew her purpose? She tells him his arrogance takes her breath away. The world she had created for herself may have been small to Xavier, but since she became the goddess at 17 years old, she has used her skills and powers to make her world, to make Africa, a better place. And although she may be just a mutant to him, never forget that he does indeed speak to a goddess. And the sky outside Xavier's jet immediately darkened, crackled, and thunder, echoing Ororo's displeasure. The godhood I have inherited from my ancestors is more than a mutation, she tells Xavier, and he is not moved. He understands why Ororo is so patient. He tells Ororo that he meant no disrespect. And as the jet departs, he goes on to explain that the strange teenagers Ororo had met months earlier were also mutants, and they are members of a group called the Xmen, and they use their powers for the benefit of the world, a world that, unfortunately, hates and fears them simply for being born with genes that often forces upon them strange physical features and or abilities. On their flight to Japan for Xavier's next recruit, Xavier decides that Ororo will be the first member of his new X-Men team to know his version of the truth. And telepathically, he shows Ororo the fate of the original X-Men, and he explains his plan to defeat Krakoa. After a telepathic crash course in the English language, Professor Xavier has closed the language gap of all his new, costumed guests, which now also includes the honor-bound Japanese mutant who calls himself Sunfire, the gentle Russian powerhouse Pyotr Rasputin, and the Native American Apache-hearted John Proudstar. And whatever unease Ororo felt is laid to rest the moment she lays her eyes on her teammates, who are also in their costumes made of unstable molecules, designed by Xavier's friend Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four. To Ororo, they all look like gods. She looks down at her own costume, and she is amazed. Xavier has thought of everything to please her. He called her a mutant, but this costume honored the gods. The cape was in the likeness of the wingspan of the sky goddess Isis, complementing her own tiara, which was also in the likeness of the crown of Isis. And most charmingly, Xavier's costume honored her heritage by bringing her cape together with her mother's powerful ancestral ruby gem. But most of all, the costume is identical to the image of Ororo in Ozymandias' prophecy in the Tomb of Even so, seeing Ozymandias' prophecy come to life makes Ororo truly trust Xavier. The mutants all listen closely as Xavier tells them that he is awaiting the arrival of the last member of this new team, whom happens to be one of the original Xmen, and he will be their field leader. As they wait, Professor Xavier says that their years of experience with their mutant powers will make the difference on their first mission together as superheroes. But first, since they are the only members of the second generation of X-Men without code names, he has given one to Piotr, whom he calls Colossus, and to John he assigns the name Thunderbird. And in honor of her powers and personality, he calls Ororo Munroe, the orphaned princess of the Hidden Kingdom, the former thief, the legendary Wind Rider, the living weapon of mass destruction, the former and future lover of the Prince of Wakanda, the favorite daughter of the elder goddess Ashta the Bright Lady, the earthborn African sky goddess of life, now turned the American mutant superhero, Stormythology.